geometry sticky out. There we go. And I'm going to turn off auto labeling because I don't really want to deal with the points at this particular how-to. So first thing, let's think about rotations. Rotations, you need something to turn, so I need an object. So let's just quickly sketch a object there. So I have a 5-sided shape, and then I have to basically tell the computer what object is it I want to turn and where do I want to turn it. So I need a point of rotation, and then how much do I want to turn it. So I need an angle of rotation. So there's 3 things: object, point to turn around, center of rotation, and the degree that I would like to turn. So let's kind of go through that process. So here's my object, and your object can be anything. It can be a point, it can be a segment itself, it can be an object like I have here. It's as long as you select it. So I'm selecting this, so I need to go in my arrow tool, and I'm going to select my object, and I'm going to click rotate. And if I scroll up here, it says, okay, we know what you want to turn. Now, where do you want to turn it? What point do you want to be your center of rotation? So I could have a point that's already in the object, right? I could use one of the vertices and just rotate around that. So let's just pick a point here. We're going to pick this one. So I've selected my object, my point of rotation, and now it's asking me what angle do you want to rotate to this object? How much do you want to rotate it? And I can enter whole numbers, I can enter decimal values. So let's enter something kind of crazy. Let's enter, I don't know, 86.25, right? And so there is my rotated object, and if I click it, I kind of like to do this just so I can keep track of my rotations. So I'm going to change its color. And it rotated, and now if you're exploring rotation with your students, you could actually kind of have them look at corresponding points and see if the angle matches what we actually did. What is an angle of rotation? So I'm gonna select off here. I'm going to actually change my color, and I'm going to change this to a dotted line so that I can see it. And I'm going to now choose my line tool, or I'm sorry, click segment. And what I'm going to do is, here's my center of rotation that I chose, right? So let's think of that as the center of a circle that I can't necessarily see. I could put a circle in there, but I'm going to basically draw the radius from this point to its corresponding point in the new rotated image, which would be here, right? So this is the original and a corresponding, and I rotated my original. So I'm just basically matching up points. And if I wanted to actually get my circle, let's get that circle and show what that means too. So center of rotation means I have actually rotated it, and if you notice, that center of rotation is the center of a circle, and every pair of corresponding points, if I were to open the circle, lies on a circle, right? That center of a circle. So they're all points on the radius of different circles that all have that center, concentric circles. So let's actually draw the circle we're looking at, because these are the corresponding points I'm talking about. So if I want to think about what is the angle of rotation, let's just measure it, shall we? So here is my original point, and it was rotated till it got to this corresponding point. And now let's measure that angle that I see there. And guess what? It's 86.25, which is the angle that we told the figure to rotate, 86.5. So that's pretty cool. So one way to think about rotations is you can rotate from points on the object, in the object. You can also, and let's make our sticky here a little bit bigger so we can branch out. All right, so we could also, and I think I'm gonna move my shape over here just a little bit, because I'm gonna make a new shape now. So let's make a new shape. And I don't know, oh, and everything's going in orange. Oh, that's okay. Actually, maybe I want to kind of want to turn off my dotted lines right now, so I don't think I want it orange. I don't know, let's make this new one green. All right, so let's go back to our sticky here, and I kind of don't want this point here. Well, let's leave that point. That's a good point. Let's make a shape. All right, so we're gonna, I don't know, let's make something different this time. So there's a shape. I've made it in green, and this works out well. I have a point. So notice I have a point now that is not part of my shape, right? Over here in my first example, I used a point within the shape, and notice if I change the original, the copy changes, right? So what I'm going to do now is rotate this green shape using a point that's not part of the shape. So again, I have to select my object. I have to decide what I want to do with it. I want to rotate it. And up here it says, okay, so now you need your point of rotation. So instead of picking one of the points that's on the shape, I want to actually pick one that's off. So that's now my point of rotation. And this time let's put in a negative measure. Let's do negative, oh well, not negative. Let's do, I don't know, 180. Let's do 180. That's a good one. So 180. So I'm going to hit enter, and there's my new image. Let's change this color just so that we keep them straight. So my new image is purple. All right, so here's my rotated images. Okay, so here's my original, here's my rotated, and again, think of this as the center of a circle, and all corresponding points lie on a circle. So let's just pick two that we know correspond to each other. So I know that this one corresponds to this one, and let's connect them with, as we did before, a segment. And I'm not going to bother making it dotted this time. So there's that segment, and I'm going to connect it to the corresponding one, right? So I need to measure this angle that's created here. Well, even without measuring, I kind of know. Remember we chose 180, which is the measure of a straight line, but we can go ahead and select these two and measure their angle, and it should come back with 180, right? So that's the basics of doing or just doing rotations in geometry. You need an object, you need a point of rotation, center of rotation, and you need an angle of rotation. So have fun exploring. It's a lot of fun. You get the little angle marks and you can test conjectures, those types of things. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and check out our YouTube channel where we keep posting these how-tos up there for you. Have fun.